Hey everybody, welcome back to Going With The Ganongs and welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we get to a few things around here that are going to make this summer feel a lot more put together and a lot more like home here at the cabin in the woods. But first, if you're new around here, my name's Dan. We're a family of 4 who have moved off grid, and we have been living in our unfinished cabin in the woods for almost 2 years now. We slowly but surely have cut the trees, cleared the land, got the foundation prepped, framed up our cabin, got our roof on, and we're able to survive 2 winters now in the cabin, safely, cozy, and warm. Alright, we got up to a couple good things this week that are really making this place feel a little more put together and like home for this summer. So let's get to it. Alright, so we are going to start today moving these pallets and getting things out of the way, finding a few areas for a few feet for this deck, and then we're gonna frame it out with wood that we already have. We still have some of this hemlock left. I think I'll probably run short. Hopefully we'll get close to enough, and if we don't have enough, we'll have to either get a little more or maybe we'll mill our own. We'll figure it out, but we're definitely gonna get a good start on this deck today. Let's get to it. That's the biggest spider I've seen in a while. See that?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That is a huge. You're moving the barbecue.
It's in the way?
Oh, it's in the way.
Yeah.
I've done it in the garden.
Yeah.
I have a garden in a long time ago.
Yes.
I just talked for the road. Eric? When Eric, I make a nice part again.
Here, how about this? Dig it out for me?
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay. Yep. Probably just...
Here, and Luca. Now, how much is worked on that? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why is 2x6 different than 2x4?
So the boards don't stay like this. Or we could do it this way actually.
Why are you trying to dig it so deep? This is how done. How are you gonna do that? What did you do? Is it garbage day or something?
Alright everybody, this is a method I used in my workshop for my workbench actually. And because we have so many small balsam trees, this one's already been peeled, it's actually pretty dry. I figured this was a fine time to use this method. It really is just notching out, and so both of these boards are resting right on this, but it leaves enough material that you can screw it in so that leg's not going anywhere. I did screw this in, kind of like a ledger board, into the deck joist here. This support is very much so needed, but like this screwed in, I think it's going to be more than enough.
What? but it actually doesn't hurt. Like, it hurts.
All right, everybody, we're just trying to figure out the decking with the boards that we do have. These boards are the same as what I did the main deck here with, and these boards are actually a little bit different, but obviously we have this big hole here, and I need to decide. I may just go back to the place where I got these boards and just get a few more to fill these in. I can get 12-foot lengths of those, which would make it really simple. Other option would be to mill my own, which is just gonna take a lot longer to mill them, plane them, route them, all that. So, but for now, it at least will get us in and out of the pool. For now, we'll probably tack them down with a few screws until we can get the boards and get it figured out. Okay, so in last week's video where we were cleaning up this area over here, we did a lot of work. There was a ton of trees that have been laying on the ground over here for years. I mean, some of this stuff was standing and hung up when we bought the land, and we were able to pull them down with my father-in-law's winch. And then they laid there for a year and a half, 2 years, some of them. Some of it has been on the ground ever since we bought the land. Very few of those trees were new within the last year to 2 years on the ground. And the reason I'm saying this is because there were a couple people wondering why we were getting rid of good firewood. To be very clear, anything that was good firewood was bucked, split, and put in the woodshed already or stacked. And right here, some of the stuff, some of that small maple I took out at the end of last week's video, or close to the end, that's right here. It's going to be good firewood. Any of the stuff that we stacked in the woods is rotting, punky, wet, not good for burning, not even good for burning outside. So we're definitely not wasting firewood. And another thing to keep in mind, this is maybe a quarter of an acre that we just cleaned out, and we have 38. So there is no waste of firewood going on over here. The other thing we did, if you noticed, with some of the rotten stuff, so anything that's kind of like this that was just rotten, these stumps, a lot of what we did with that stuff was put it in some of the holes that are low spots over here. That'll rot away. It'll turn into natural material. They'll obviously sink down over time, but it'll just take away some of those dips that are over here and just make this place a little more level. Now, we have no plans on excavating or anything like that. That would just damage too many tree roots that we want to keep. We'll rake things into there, the leaves and sticks and all that. Anything that's smaller, we'll rake into those holes. And then I plan to maybe use some of the wood chips from the wood chip pile we have back there. Not that we have to, but it also would be nice to get that wood chip pile out of there, just because it's been there for so long, and the land and everything has changed so much since we made that wood chip pile that it's really not in a good spot anymore. When we left off last week's video, we really just had this tiny bit of stuff back here to clean up. Make sure that we get this completely cleared out. We're gonna rake things into all the holes, and we're gonna take all of the good firewood and make sure it gets bucked, which, to be honest, there's not a whole lot over here that's good for burning indoors. So before people comment and tell me it's not a good idea to fill in ground with rotten wood and all that kind of stuff, I'm gonna say it again. This is just to fill in the low spots. It's a good use of the material. It's already rotten. We are not building over here or anything like that, so this will just naturally rot on the forest floor, as all trees do if you don't move them, and just become part of the ground. And just part of that process for us is distributing it into places where we could use it most and getting rid of some of these dips. Also, I think sometimes people don't quite get the idea of where we live and what exactly we're doing. But every once in a while, someone will comment something about cutting live trees. Like I mentioned earlier about wasting firewood. So something to keep in mind is we live in a 38-acre forest. This forest was cut 30 to 40 years ago, which means it is rebounding, it is growing back. The early growth is starting to die off. And we have things like this right here behind me. This is a big balsam tree. If you can see in this stump, they get hollow, they grow to 60 feet tall maybe. They get hollow and they fall over. And then we have a bunch of these laying around the forest. Right behind me, I chose this spot just to show you, if we didn't clean that section up over there, it looks like this. You can't walk through it, you can't get through it, sticks are everywhere, you get caught on trees, you can't get under or over them because of the height they're at, and all that kind of stuff. So once again, it's about 1/4 of an acre in front of the cabin and off to one side that we're clearing out, and we are not going to do this to the whole forest. I think a lot of people see some of the stuff we do, and just because it seems so invasive to the forest to some people because that's not what you're used to seeing, but we're leaving anything that's alive in areas that we're not building, we're leaving it. Unless it's balsam, because they do this, they fall over, they break, and we can actually cut them down while they're still in good shape, mill them up, and use them as other things. So although I know it might be jarring to some people to see what we do, it feels like maybe we're destroying a forest. We're actually helping this forest stay in as pristine of a state as we can, all while living on it. And if you think of anything modern, if you live in a city, a subdivision, even in a house that's on an acre, we have had much less of an impact on the forest as anybody who's building a conventional lifestyle. Alright, there's the end of my little soapbox speeches for this video. We're gonna get back to some real work and we're gonna keep going at it. Alright everybody, it is later in the day. We were able to go by the store where we get some of this wood, and unfortunately they didn't have any dressed hemlock, which is what we used up front. Last year I had picked up a huge load of 6-foot boards, dressed hemlock. I think they were like 90 cents a board. It was crazy cheap. I went by today and they didn't have any of that, so I had to buy some rough stuff. The good thing is I have my own planer, so I'm just gonna have to run these through the planer probably quite a lot to be able to get them down to a thickness that's pretty well the same, but we definitely need to send these through the planer enough to get them down. Then we'll go back up front, we'll take off the shorter boards that were on there, and then we have these, they're 6 foot. We need to square off some of the edges, but then we'll get those on there. Then this little deck addition will be complete, and we'll move back into the woods and keep working up front. All right, everyone, we have those boards sent through. They're down to a good enough thickness now, and pretty smooth. I'm gonna take them over to the deck. We're gonna route off the top edges of the boards that we're gonna use. Otherwise, some of those shavings are in this bag right here. The boys are playing in the rest of them. But I'm saving as many of these shavings as I can from anything balsam or cedar or whatever that I sent through the planer. I'm going to use them later in the summer along with some paraffin wax and some old egg cartons, and we're going to make our own fire starter for next winter. We have so much material to use to make those from, and we often buy them, but why not try to make them ourselves? But for now, those are going in the workshop. We'll do that a later day. And now we're going to take these boards up, get them routed, and get them on that deck. I also don't know if I've ever shown my workshop here on this channel. This is my workshop. It's now moved and set up. I know last time that I was in here on a video was probably when I did a little test of our Bluetti AC 240, and this workshop was way up at the front by where our trailer is now, in front of the cabin, and it was not cleaned out. It was our storage shed, so it's still a mess in here. I haven't spent nearly as much time as I hope in the workshop, but it's back to being a workshop. My spindle sander, drill press in the corner, bandsaw, thickness planer we just used, table saw right here, little workbench here, over to some clamps, stuff like that, and then a wall of mess. If you don't know, I make things out of recycled skateboards. There's all my old skateboards, and here's a look at some of the stuff I make. If you're interested, I have an Etsy store. If you want it, I can send that to you. Recycled skateboard spatula. Revere Wood Designs is the name. Alright, we're getting up front. Ice cubes. Just leave.
My go. Do you have an extra one? Oh, we have a driving the needles.
Alright friends, that is the end of the cleanup for now. It's feeling really good to have this cleaned up to the point we have. We will definitely keep working up here. Now that we've gotten all these dead trees off the ground and out of the way, for one, there's a lot more space for me to work if I do put a tree down. There's tons of room for us to clean it up and all that. And otherwise it's just like raking and things like that. So we'll keep updating you, but this is probably the last video that I'll really show a whole lot of the work we're doing up here. But we'll definitely make sure to check in and show you what it looks like over the summer as we slowly chip away at making this place just a little bit more like home. All right, the next step of cleaning this place up that we want to hit is this load right here. The cabin's right behind the camera. Woodshed is right to my left, and here on our right is a huge pile of wood. We've just accumulated a bunch of wood that wasn't really good enough to burn inside, or it was too wet or punky, whatever. So we want to clean this up and make this just look so much nicer if we don't have this huge pile here. There's a couple pallets that I've used for peeling logs and stuff that we're going to move out of the way. Just get this area looking a lot nicer and a lot more inviting to anybody that comes by. Big maple.
This?
Literally, I said, think you're washing? I stood next one. Wow. We have this like...
This guy's a good climber.
So where are you?
There.
That, like this.
So like another from the pool.
Yeah. Oh, and you.
Hey, Eli, I'm gonna. The guy that does music goes here. Do it. Do I need to do it then? Or can you keep it? And I'm just gonna back on you. I'm gonna turn it.
Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Got a good little dent done on the pile that's over there and have it stacked here. This is obviously just for outside burning. It's been sitting piled. It's wood that I wanted to throw away. So far, we've actually had a pretty wet spring and summer, so we've been allowed to burn a lot. We've been getting rid of a lot of stuff we need to get rid of. We're going to keep going on that. Once you get a taste of what it looks like to see things a little more cleaned up, you get an even bigger taste to see things completely cleaned up. And that's how we feel about what we've just done out front. There's such a feeling of satisfaction to see it look so much better. It feels more inviting. Even when we show up at home, it just feels a little more like home, a little more like a yard, a little more like a place where people actually live. putting all this outside.
Yeah. Okay.
So over here beside the shed has just naturally become a bit of a landing ground for extra pallets. There's times where I come back and grab them. Obviously we use boards here and there off of them. I have a few ideas for things I need to do with some of these pallets, but they're out of the way and at least not where we walk and all of that, and tucked away. Maybe a little bit of leaf cleanup over there just to make it pristine. Pallets. There we have it, everybody. This section is completely cleaned up. It's really nice to get this area cleaned out and just have it looking better. It just feels a little bit better while we live here to come out and see an area that just looks put together and clean. And there you have it, everybody. That's what we got up to this week. This wood behind me is all stacked out of the way, looking much better than the pile that used to be over there. The front deck is feeling so much more spacious and just perfect for our family. We've already enjoyed it so much, and we're gonna enjoy it for a few more weeks and months ahead for sure. We're definitely getting close to getting back to some good projects on the cabin itself in the next few videos. But that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, for following along. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.